So how does it work when we elect a Western leader in Europe or in the United States? We very often have two choices, and we need to analyze those two choices. Were they pre-selected? Did we have a choice in choosing the last two candidates? Well, we don't. Most of those candidates are pre-selected first. But the pre-selection starts very early on. I'm going to give you an example of Emmanuel Macron. Emmanuel Macron was identified very early on. He became a young leader of the French-American Foundation. To give you an idea of the French-American Foundation, it has a globalist agenda, and you have very famous people that went through this foundation. There was Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton as well, Anthony Blinken. So very early on, he was very young when he went there. Emmanuel Macron just attended this network. So they identified him because he was probably intelligent and he had a great potential to become part of the family and work for the globalist agenda. So here, they identified him as the next president of France, but this foundation is working exclusively on the interest of the United States and the globalist agenda. So then, right after that, the final step for those leaders is to go through the Bilderberg group. So if you look at the list of attendees of the participant of the Bilderberg group, you have all the next generations of presidents. And something which is very interesting, it is not that when they become president that they attend Bilderberg. It is actually before becoming president. So those are advanced indicators. Whoever goes to Bilderberg group, you could expect them to become president or have a very high position in the next few years. So how did it work with Emmanuel Macron? He was identified very early on. He was invited in 2014 at the Bilderberg group and then elected in 2017. Other example, Edouard Philippe. Edouard Philippe, he went to the Bilderberg meeting in 2016 and he was elected French Prime Minister in 2019. Can you see the pattern? Very early on, that was a long time ago, Pierre Elliott Trudeau went to Bilderberg meeting in 1968. The same year, he became Prime Minister of Canada. Stephen Harper, he went to Bilderberg meeting in 2003 and he was elected Canada Prime Minister in 2006, 3 years later. Kyriakos Mitsotakis, he went to the Bilderberg meeting in 2016 and then he was elected Prime Minister of Greece in 2020. So you see, they are giving us an illusion of free choice, but we don't. Whatever candidate goes to the final round has been pre-selected. So we are going to choose between two candidates that are actually working for the same people, the globalist elites. When I say the globalist elites, those are the big corporation, international corporation. And you can see whoever funds them. More and more, the globalist corporations are taking over and they are doing the funding. We used to have direct funding from the US government, but now it's going through different channels. So before the Bilderberg group, they identify people with potential, and usually it's various foundations. So you have the World Economic Forum, which is the young global leaders. So they identify people through that. There's also Soros Foundation. You see the candidate Vivek from the Conservative. He was actually identified by the Soros Foundation very early on. He was given $90,000 when he was not yet millionaire. Actually, he's a billionaire right now. So it is very important to understand that it is a system of pre-selection. I'm going to give you more examples. Matteo Renzi in 2019, he went to the Bilderberg group. He was elected he was prime minister in 2014. Jens Stoltenberg, he went to the Bilderberg group in 2002, then elected Prime Minister of Norway in 2005. Then there is José Manuel Barroso. He went to Bilderberg Group 94, 2003, 2005, 2013, 2016. He was elected president of the European Commission in 2004. So you see, first time he went to the Bilderberg group was 94, very early on, and then he became very powerful personality in 2004. Antonio Guterres, former Prime Minister of Portugal in 95. He went to Bilderberg Group in 94, just 1 year before becoming Prime Minister of Portugal. Fredrik Reinfeldt, he's a Prime Minister of Sweden between 2006 and 2014. 2006, he went to the Bilderberg Group. Tony Blair, he went to the Bilderberg Group in 93, and then he became Prime Minister of the UK in 97. There was also Thatcher in 75, then she became Prime Minister in 79, and then Bill Clinton, when he was still the governor of Arkansas in 91, he went to the Bilderberg Group. He was one of the very few governors, US governors, to attend the Bilderberg Group in 93, 91. Then he became President of the United States in 1993. So you see, it's very important just to understand how it works. And those organizations, those NGOs that actually bet on those candidates, on those people with potential, they have one agenda, which is New World Order. It's a globalist agenda. So you are going to have people, candidates to become president of a country, but they don't have the interest of that country at heart. Their interest is to create this New World Order, globalist agenda, which is a complex project. But ultimately, when it comes to country, it is about destruction of nation state. But besides that, there are other motives, other strategies, which is deconstruction of society, from the human being, destruction of identity, sexualize kids at early stage. They destroy tradition, they destroy religion. What they want to do through this deconstruction is to make people become just a slave labor, and also they see us as a pool of consumers. That's how they do. And they know that what is dangerous for this globalist agenda is when you have people like Chinese or Russians, they love their country, they love their traditions, they have a religion, they have a sense of family, and that is dangerous because those people are going to fight for what they have. While when you have deconstructed a human being that actually doesn't have a sense of family, that is on his own, alone, is actually just confronted with himself, it's individualism, no sense of society, then it's much easier to manipulate. So always remember, if you check a candidate, just go through what vetting process is gone through and who funds him. And then you will have an idea if he has your interest at heart. But very often what happens is that they become candidates. You get to the last stage because you've been vetted, including the big corporate media, international corporate medias, because they are the ones that are going to shape your perception. So there's a strong correlation between how many times you see a candidate in the media and the percentage of vote is going to get. So don't get fooled. Just check what is the background and who pays.